Joining us now from Las Vegas is James Holzhauer. James, it's Brian Kenny. Welcome to MLB Now.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me.
It's great having you here. And we're going to talk baseball, but first about you. At this point in your life, you're gaining traction everywhere. What is it like for you reaching this level of fame?
Well, it's kind of a whirlwind. I didn't really know exactly what would come of this. Some interesting offers have been floated my way. I can't really talk about them right now, but, there's some potentially life-changing stuff out there if the opportunities are right for me. I have to make some hard decisions coming up.
Okay. As was mentioned there on Jeopardy, you are a professional sports bettor or gambler. What do you do? What do you bet on? What's your expertise?
So I will bet on anything, but the big four sports are basically what I focus on: baseball, football, basketball, hockey. I would say that college football is now the biggest thing, but when I got started, baseball was really the best game in town. They were making some big mistakes, especially in the futures markets, pricing the long shots incorrectly, and that was how I first got really a big enough bankroll to play with.
Really? Okay. And they've closed that loophole, or there's still some things out there?
It's basically closed now. I mean, you still find some opportunities, but it's no longer a kind of thing you can make a living on just on that.
Okay, and then you go find the next thing. So you're a sabermetric guy, right? I mean, this is baseball and your training. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So early in the 2000s, I was quick to adopt a lot of the new stats they had out there, and I think the books took a long time to really incorporate the new stats into their odds making. And so for a while, the stats guys were really ahead of the curve there. I know some other people who also cleaned up on baseball in the 2000 aughts. It's kind of a lot harder game now.
Okay. You were reading Bill James? I've heard you quoted on that. What were you reading to get an edge?
Yeah, so, I really liked the works of Bill James and Baseball Prospectus and other places like that. Fangraphs came along a little later, but they were similarly, introducing new numbers to explain what really drove teams to win and lose. It's not always what you think it is.
Okay. You're a Cubs fan. You see, we can just see the edge of the Cubs jersey there. So you grew up a Cubs fan, or how did that work?
Yeah, I like to say my whole life path was shaped by when I came home from school as a kid. I had a couple hours to the TV when my dad was still at work, and in Chicagoland they had afternoon Jeopardy and afternoon Cubs games when they were at home. So that was basically what I would watch, and it was what got me interested in Jeopardy and sports statistics at a young age.
How perfect is that then, right? Look, especially being in Chicago, everything was just, destined that way. All right, so let me tell you, if you could get into a front office now, what would you do if you were running a major league team? Given that you obviously are into efficiency, doing things the right way or the way that could be done better, what would you do if you were running a major league team?
Well, the teams are doing a very good job for the most part right now of incorporating all the new technologies they have. I know the teams have a lot of privately owned data that they don't share with people like me, and if I had access to it, I bet I could find some interesting stuff there to help teams win more games, but it's hard to say without getting a look at things like PitchFX and all that.
Okay. What's your education? Like, what did you study?
I went to the University of Illinois, and I have a degree in math, but it's really correct to say I majored in online poker there. I played a lot of online poker. I ran a poker strategy website, and that helped me build my initial bankroll to start sports betting with. Okay.
Well, along those lines, I know I've read a few things out there. People are complaining about your process using analytics to get into Jeopardy. You bet differently. Tell us about your process and what you've done to be the best Jeopardy player you could be.
So I think maybe I owe a hat tip to Bill James here. He never accepted maxims like, pitching is 75% of the game. He actually went and looked and said, really, this is what helps teams win. And so I kind of didn't look at anyone else's strategy for Jeopardy. I thought, I'm going to build this from the ground up. What do I need to do to win at Jeopardy? If I had never seen a Jeopardy game played before, how would I play it to maximize my winnings, maximize my chances of winning? And that, incorporates a lot of gambling and things that other people don't think are the right way to play. I will say that Jeopardy viewership is up quite a bit from a month ago, so there's definitely some people who don't like the product they're seeing on screen right now, but I don't think the producers are complaining.
Well, so now people are going to emulate you now, right? They'll start betting big and get the big money right away, the way you do it. Do you anticipate that happening?
Well, maybe. I mean, if they have the stomach to gamble $10,000 on a daily double, then yes, they can get away with the same stuff. But, I mean, I would rather watch a game of Jeopardy that's played with that kind of killer instinct. I will say, the best way to play is not always the best fan experience. I think we've seen some people turned off by baseball with the focus on home runs and everything now and replay and things like that. But, the profits of the game have never been higher, so there's definitely a big contingent of people out there who disagree.
Oh, interesting analogy between the two. Also, you have to have the answers, right? I mean, when people, because I've read this that, he's ruining the game with his analytics and all of this. But, you have to answer the questions. I mean, where do you get that well of knowledge?
Well, it's kind of boring to write a piece of, this guy's winning Jeopardy because he's really fast on the buzzer and he knows a lot of the answers. So that, I can't blame them for trying to drive clicks to their own websites by focusing on whatever they want. I will say that my studies focus largely on breadth of knowledge, not depth. So if you know about a little bit about a lot of subjects, that's probably the best way to prepare for the show.
Okay. What do you read?
I read almost exclusively children's books, at least when it comes to studying for Jeopardy, because I find that they're much easier to read. Lots of pictures. I never fall asleep trying to learn about Dickens if it's in a comic book form.
No, come on. What do you read? Really?
I am not joking. You can look up my library log. It's Las Vegas. In fact, I've followed this through several cities that I've lived in. Back before I moved out here, I lived in Chicagoland and the Naperville Public Library. They'll show that I checked out a lot of these children's comic books to study.
Really? Okay. There's another competitive advantage we hadn't thought of. All right, you're not back on the show for about 2 weeks. We want to give you a chance to keep sharp, all right? I know they're doing the teachers tournament now. Can we throw some baseball questions at you? I think these are fair. Before and after. Okay, here we go, James. Cubs player who led Major League Baseball in slugging in 2005. We gave you the year. And Ryne Sandberg's first Cubs manager. Go ahead, James.
So I'll say, who is Derek Lee Elia?
Correct. Well, we don't have like a sound effect. Correct. Excellent job, James.
Yeah.
You won. I have no cash on me, but we'll see what we can do. All right, I have a little bonus question. You ready? I think you'll like this. All right? You've had no time to think about this. The category is presidential Cubs. The answer is one-time Cubs lefty named for the 26th president. James, to you.
So I would think that the answer is Grover Cleveland Alexander, but Grover Cleveland was the 22nd and 24th president. The 26th was Teddy Roosevelt, so I'm not really sure what you're going for there.
Think Cubs lefty recently.
Cubs lefty
not
recently,
Not all that far back.
Okay, so if it's Teddy Roosevelt, oh, no, Roosevelt Brown? I can't think of one.
All right.
Ted Lilly. Ted Lilly. Who is Ted Lilly?
I knew you'd get it. I knew you'd get it. You give the champ a chance. And he got it. James.
All right.
Theodore Roosevelt Lilly III, a.k.a. Ted Lilly. There we go. I'd like to think, James, we helped keep you sharp. And now you got it. You had to agonize. But now you're ready to go when you go back. Hey, James, great talking with you. Congratulations on all the success. And maybe we'll talk again. Love to talk a little more baseball with you at some point.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.